When discussing of going to the cinema is brought up, the first thing often associated with it, aside from the film themselves, are perhaps the food, or maybe the posters, or the advertising. But the thing that continues to stand out to me is the atmosphere. I'm not exclusively talking about only the atmosphere of sitting down to watch a film for a few hours, supported by half an hour's worth of trailers and peanut butter M&Ms, or it all started with a spark, but also was around. There is this certain feeling to the entrance or environment surrounding the inside of a theater's backdrop that eludes me each time, enough to arouse the film going to in excitement. I figured this would be a sort of occasion to explore how the movie theater atmosphere impacts the experience that one has with a motion picture, and also experiences I had that have been chatted further down to where it should be. Firstly, of course, the biggest takeaway about the theater atmosphere is the entrance. Depending on the theater, there's various ways for it to form on the viewer. Sometimes the entrance with its two sides serves an equal number of rooms with a ticket booth slapped in the middle, or the entrance is the sorry, flashy part that outshines anything else that is surrounding it. An example of a theater I used to attend as long with us was AMC Downtown Disney 12, located in its namesake place that was opened from 2001 to 2018. The theater had this roundabout ticket booth at the center, while the auditoriums were filled with the bright, colorful neon sail that the original screen of Down Disney inherited to, making it such a perfect for the chain. Either way, it helped that, like the rest of downtown, it had this ideally beautiful golden age look to it that sold you on what you were expecting. From what I recall, the best experience was how fresh it was, much like downtown itself was. Walking in to see films like Monsters University and Business Wanted on their opening premieres late at night at the peak of my assessment was a change was nothing short but magical and chilling in how much of its visual identity of red and white lingered along past its exit. One aspect of this time at the theater that I still vividly remember were the little red characters that AMC would use to advertise. There was always this unique sense of animation and energy that was somewhat lacking in later versions of what AMC would do with the bumpers. Of note, the massive Coca-Cola-like entrance awaiting you to start the movie has remained with me for as long as I've seen it. I used to remember how prominent that thing was. Like many of the great wonders at Downtown Disney, it's a shame that such a great place had to leave us behind. It was close to make way for a four-resort hotel that would consume most of the most portion of the place. But this agreement between Disney and the city of Anaheim over the location led to being solved. And while some of the extra ways have been used, the MC itself has been left to the wayside. Knowing that this all could have been prevented pissing me off a tad bit. Maybe more than should, but nowadays the theater was reincarnated down the streets to AMC Anaheim Garden Walk 6. Likewise, this is another theater I've been to, but never for a film and only when I bypassed it. Last Christmas Eve, after my trip from a fine Olive Garden feast, I ended up going inside the theater to see how it would compare to its original film I knew. This is around the time where a lot of the big holiday films were playing, so it was pretty cool to see for myself, given this is one of the busiest times of the year people go to the movies for, to see witches, lions, hedgehogs, or everything else they're out to. In terms of the experience I had, it was pretty okay. The site is drastically smaller, only being able to hold onto about 4 or 5 films on average, maybe 6 were lucky. On another note, the fresh air remains just as fresh as they were being, which is positive, but on the downside, the ticket booths are relegated to a small screen behind the food. The layout of the front, given that it has 3 sides down, is 5, as to do that exclusively in the concession stands in the room themselves. There was the strange novelty of seeing Spanish Channel not getting sold out of the blue, but that can only bring you so far when you have rather one on clearance, begging you to pick it up that crusty popcorn that line might give. Now, can it? Overall, a modest to what it has to deal with, regardless of what opposing competitors do, that they still hold in high regard. On the other hand, one theater that I feel I'm both familiar and unfamiliar with is Picture Show, inside the Main Place Mall. Opening on October 28th of 2006, this is one of those super theaters where the cost is lower than the others. Some of the Garden Walk, the theater can only hold anywhere from about 5 to 6, sometimes even just 4 movies at a time. The main trait I associate Picture Show with is stickiness, given how sticky it is. This theater has this sort of sixth sense that will make you stick as much as the computer does, to where the brief hexagon flashback can make for how ripped the scene was. It's a type of thing that is very rough if you've been to any of the seatings. Now, granted, the last time I've been up that elevator was to see the Lorax right back when. What's brings me to another point about this theater. For the longest time, it would take Picture Show a good few months to get recent movies in, often not arriving well until other cinemas stopped playing them. I remember seeing Tangled in 2011 around my birthday, and by then the film was mere moments away from being released on physical media. This is a trait that's so ingrained into the head of a boy who spent so much time 12 watching the Lorax in August that it was made incredibly awkward by how the previews showed new anime films that are playing right next door, despite being advertised as coming soon. This is longer the case, with those remove that puzzling charm that reminds me of a college student later class. Out of time, messy, but ultimately means well, most of the time. They also used to have these banners showing the films currently playing, where listed the time below nifty keywords, but that has been replaced. I can remember how the art they used to know job was a concept art, or how fear was glued from the inside out banner to make room for a logo, or how I would make last minute excuses before I left the mall each time to see what art would be featured, just to see if anything new would pop up. Blogs were a picture show like Century Theaters 30, win the largest landmark banner. This is a theater I was unfamiliar with until last year, or as I became more interested in resuming business and attending the cinema again after years of only going for events or very specific work that interests me. I decided that perhaps it was time to relive that thrill of the experience I treasured in the 2010s so much. This theater has helped me out in re-establishing that. It goes without saying that the atmosphere has a blend of feeling fresh and buttery. The oozing strings of red, orange, and yellow make it a spectacle to follow. Each time I come back to it, there's always this larger-than-life scale that completely blows me away, even if, again, I know I'm getting into since how much I've been there recently. Down in the middle is the food court, of popcorn guppets and high-end pluses, and in the back, an arcade with a large Pac-Man machine, among other things. In terms of the auditorium itself, they're large in scale and size. This makes everything have a very cinematic value to them, as does the layout of the posters all across the year to most kind of necks. Adding an urge of excitement to that makes me want to come back each time. And another thing is, and this goes over all of these theaters now, is how they'll always move the poster for a film when it releases, so taking a photo when I'm about to be slid disappears. Some they'll also be kind of keep it on release dates, but often it doesn't go that way. I remember being seen for Dogman a day before it physically premiered, and right after I got out, I saw employees had replaced the poster with still here that now arrived at the cinema, but the poster was still up earlier that day. Same thing happened when I got to see A Complete Unknown in December with that pure blue icy, and these removed the day I had to see it. Needless to say, the red light showing what's playing is magical. It's been funny going out of theater only to attend main place soon after the soaring, and also I bypassed Picture Show. I miss that dog man. I miss that wonder and that total horror when I first watched The Substance, seeing the looks on one's face, and that's to recall an unforgettable experience at the cinema. And the reason why the atmosphere works so well. If I had seen that at home for the first time, I don't think I'd get that same luxury, that same whimsy, that same horrifying, beautiful, darkly twisted sense of what that film was going for. It's all really something that you have to be in the theatrical setting to experience in the best way possible. On the contrary, reflecting to the most recent year I've been to, AMC Fullerton 20 is good, though not a few buts. It's smack right between the amount of films a large chain like Century Theaters 30 can hold, and the nuggets of films that chain like some of the others I mentioned can hold as well. Like I described before, theaters on two sides, where one half contains all the merchandise goodies, and an extremely overpriced notebook with a few movie stickers for good measure, while the other is more standard and formal, akin to a more classy citizen. What it lacks in having the smaller window or lacking the IMAX screens to see Tom Cruise run as fast as he can, makes up for it in terms of the quality and the milieu that enriches a premium theater like this. As the seats are some of the highest quality that I have seen among my area, and the screens have a certain, this magical almost atmosphere that really drives home that yes, this is a motion picture watching. I can't but admire how it commits to that. Something else I'll know about this specific cinema is how it's a dine-in, where you can request restaurant style meals to your seats, something that I've had meal experiences given I really get for these type of places to begin with. When I started Prime Business, I had to rely on droplets of water caps and ketchup to keep me company, and when to see sinners the following day. Someone left behind their back with a popcorn for no particular reason, and when I thought I could get it, I was very permission. So it all worked out fine for me that I didn't need to waste any extra dough at the time. I've seen on crazy combos in the seat next to me, mainly just the amount of nachos and pizza someone can contain for 2 to 3 hours on average. Something that makes me almost want to buy the food. Almost. Speaking of which, the lobbies hosting the food smells as fresh as you can imagine. Signing about the merchandise and drops of popcorn, and transferred by the workings of how much food this place has against all the other places, makes it all feel the freshest any of these years have come to being fresh air, which is insane given how fresh everything always is. If pictures from me feel sticky, then Diane 20 makes me feel the polar opposite. Rich in style, cool in atmosphere, and welcoming to make you feel for what you're about to see. Those high caliber seats add to the quality of a fun Fright night that might be as good as a blue cake is. It helps that there's a small comic shop next door where I can be double engrossed in how I'll associate Toy Story 4 pinball machine encounter with sinister vampires. When I went to see Popular Cinephiles Revolutionaries release back in 2022, those glowing minion marks have remained ingrained into my skull. On a side note, there's also a theater in Brother Park that's a Metroplex 18 where I went to go see the Lego Movie Minions at. But it's been a long time since I've been there, and I don't visit the park as much as I do anymore. It's more of a novelty that I go to unexpectedly find II at a Walmart than seeing the 4 is still playing through the autumn season despite its release window. Lastly, but certainly not least, I could not go through without mentioning the creme de la creme of the theaters near me. The famous, legendary, iconic AMC Orange 30, located at the heart of the islands of Orange. This theater is everything that could be asked for in a cinema. The grandiose scale is constantly filled down to the ticket booths that show you where you're in for, flying back and forth in a series of bright lights. Below the personal tier 4 movies getting marketed at the time, from the dark times of seeing the Smurfs 2 and Clash of Meatballs 2, from Inside Out 2 and Sonic History just recently, I could count on how much of the environment strengths highlight how monumental its lasting impact has left on me, that the environment itself is just as iconic than whatever film I'm about to be engaged with. What follows next is quite possibly the pinnacle of awe-inspiring entrances to a theater, greeted by scenes on the wall of many classic films, to the bottom of all those crows accompanying them. It's all great, excellent, finite detail that always packs a punch that sells the immersion immediately, often aided by promotional material that's really found elsewhere. It's epic, it's intense. My favorite part has always been this Hall of Fame directors that are the pathways for both sides of the theater. It's a little odd that the film turns in Steven Spielberg is the second Indiana Jones, not saying like Jaws or saying Private Ryan, or that has been updated in recent years to include new directors or films that would be pretty remarkable to see among all these legends. But those are the nitpicks. It's just the perfect sort of tone that makes you see it in a theater, knowing the long, rich history of film as a medium and the craftsmanship that goes into the great films we see. As I am not rushing to the last minute to see the IMAX re-release of Interstellar that makes me lose my breath, that I have to run like Forrest Gump or John Wick deep into the night, or I can merely make it out in time for the show to start, and before I leave outside to where all the stores close, and I'm left alone to resort to an in-and-out trip, it's all good. As I sit down waiting for something World Cinema so for me again, I think back to how entitled the execution of welcoming you to the theater is. When it's sticky, it's going to be sticky for me. But when it takes a place in cinema history, that's when I know it's something supposed to know, right? Next time I see a film in age where click and those little red beans are gone, I hope I don't see someone play Classic Clans where I try to sit down to watch the last bit of hand-drawn Looney Tunes on the big screen. Rather, I'd like to be getting small cups that I can pour icy for subscriptions, and the amount of ketchup that I can give to satisfy my temptations for hours, or I laugh with a crowd by seeing how many open logos that flow has, or the amount of Coca-Cola that stuffed up everyone's faces. Remember, it's simply just fun.